just wanted to address some of the anti-gay arguments that are being put out there, just because I think that it's important that we look at both sides of situations, and I think that the problem with this debate is that the anti-gays don't look at both sides of the argument. So I'm not necessarily trying to say, I'm not going to list all the good things about gay people. Like, what I'm trying to do is point out the flaws in the anti-gay arguments. The first one being the whole religious aspect, and how the Bible defines marriage as between a man and a woman, and how God says that gay people are terrible people and sinners and they're going to hell. First of all, there is not just one religion. And specifically, in Christianity, there's not just one Christian belief. There are many different Christian churches, and you might have two very Christian people who believe completely opposite things. And that's why I think it's important that we remember that when we're debating things, it's hard to bring your religion into it, because the person you're debating with may not even have the same religion as you. And I'm not even just talking about people who are atheists versus people who are Christian. Again, Christian versus Christian, or Muslim versus Christian. Like, you have so many different religions, so many different subsections in religions. Like, you can't just argue one religion says this and therefore we have to follow it. And again, because we have separate church and state, we can't use the Bible to define words that we use in the government, because what that does is that favors one religion. And I think we're not going to get a good definition of marriage until people remember to put aside their religion when they're making these decisions, because you're affecting another person's life. And clearly, we ended slavery, we ended the Holocaust, because of the fact that you cannot just affect how someone else is living. The second argument that is completely irrational, and I really want to address this point because almost everyone is making it, the fact that gay people can't reproduce. First of all, with reproduction, China has that under control, so the population is not going to go to zero overnight, because they're making kids like a warehouse. And that's not being racist. That's actually true. There are over 1 billion people in China, over 1 billion people in India. We have over 7 billion people in the world population. Like, we don't need any more people. But looking at the rationality side of it, we have 4 groups of people in the United States who can't reproduce. Gay people, children, old people, and people who are sterilized. Two of those groups of people aren't allowed to get married. Obviously, children for obvious reasons, and gay people for confusing reasons. The 2 people that can get married are sterilized people and old people. So you cannot just say, all right, because they can't reproduce, they can't get married, because then you're saying old people can't get married and that sterilized people can't get married. And if I ever tried to say, all right, I think it's wrong that old people get married, 100 million people would say, you're crazy. Don't say that. So you have to consider that. The last argument that I want to make has to do with people who simply think that being gay is gross. If you have a problem with gay people, that's your opinion. I completely want you to have your opinion. Go for it. Tell as many people your opinion as you want. However, you cannot affect someone else's opinion. That's forcing your opinion on them. I think, personally, that it's gross to eat snails. That does not mean that I think that all French people are gross, because that would be completely unrealistic. And I know you're going to say, well, it's completely different. It has to do with sexuality. Well, I could say that I think it's gross when people have threesomes. Random topic. Not going to tell you if I actually believe that or not. But there are still people that are going to have threesomes. So, again, you can't really make these arguments that you're making unless you're completely thinking it out. I understand where these arguments are coming from. I just think that it's important that we realize really what we're saying. So, ponder that. If you don't like my video, again, leave bad comments. Go ahead. If they're too bad, I'm probably going to delete them. If you have positive comments, I would love them. If you have your own opinion, go ahead. If you have a question, go ahead. If you want me to talk about something, go ahead. But I just want to put my idea out there so that other people would just see it and not necessarily to change their minds, just to put it out there. So, thank you for listening. If you did, if you didn't, you're not at this part of the video. So, thanks.